head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just gonna line up here for Lazzy. He's gonna find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feet.
Gets the ace. Available, just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Saints Nation, thanks for sticking around with us here. We are about to get ready for round 3 here of the Cheez College Esports Invitational. My name's Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danner, is going to be your host and producer here for tonight's action. We've already had 2 games underway, both blowouts in different regards. We started off versus Shawnee State Bears, of course their club squad, mixture of varsity and club members, and we were able to take that in 2-0 fashion. However, we then went up against the Miami University of Ohio, top 5 team from past leagues in the past, and they put the 2-0 hurting onto us. Now we get to go up against Davenport University, a team that has taken us down in the past. I remember last season, I believe they took us down in 3, maybe 4 games. Might have been a 3-1 game in either NECC or Play Versus. Can't remember exactly, but they were definitely a solid squad in their own right. Granted, new semester, so of course similar to us. Either people graduated or they found themselves new players to come on in. Don't necessarily recognize many of the players on the roster as of right now, but it's definitely a lot of teams to try and remember. Now, an interesting thing here, of course, we did just come off quite the significant break once again. One team went to Game 3 overtimes, so the tournament organizers were definitely on board with trying to keep everybody playing at the exact same time, which in fairness, it is definitely one way to do it in regards to keeping all the matches at the same starting point. It's easier to TO that way, but it sometimes does leave teams cold. Now our Saints, a little bit cold. They've been waiting for about, say, 20 to 30 minutes. Davenport University, however, they were knocked down into the lower brackets extremely early in the first round, and they haven't had to play anybody. So they have been waiting since about, say, 7 o'clock or 6:55 or so when they finished their first match. Because then they had a bye, so they didn't have a round 2 opponent. And now they're finally here with us. So they, depending on how they were practicing in the background, they could be so cold going into this match that it's not even funny. But I'm sure their coaching staff and the players, they know that they keep themselves all nice and warmed up. So fair enough in that regard. But we're about to get ready to go into game number 1. Of course, going to start things off on Oasis. We have not gotten to see Oasis so far here in this tournament here for the Saints, but it's going to be where we're going this time by. And then just trying to see if I can catch anybody's roles before we hop into the game. Not going to let me a lot of private profiles right now, so fair enough. I'll just have to wait until we hop into the game to get that far. If you do want to follow along with us in regards to the bracket, exclamation mark bracket, in a Twitch chat will bring up a link so that you can follow along with us. Trying to see if there's anything else of note, of course, before we do end up hopping into, hopping into this match. It looks like, actually, something of note. If the Saints do end up winning, or winner of this match is actually going up against, I believe this is another Canadian school, of course, with the University of Ottawa. Ottawa is right on the other side here, so that match is scheduled for 8:40, but it's 8:40 right now. So obviously the bracket's a little bit off, but it's okay. We'll hop into the swing of things for round number 3 right here, right now. Let's get on into it without further ado. And here's where the battles are going to be taking place for this first round of game number 1. Of course, on the left-hand side, we're going to have St. Clair Saints. On the right-hand side, in the yellow, we will have Davenport University. For the side of Davenport, we have Dr. Stupid and Mushy on the support line. Cypress and Kenny Bennett on the tank line. And then the Schnitzel and Yokai on DPS. Meanwhile, of course, the hometown squad, your St. Clair Saints, you have Apostle and G-Scales on tank, Bailable and Kale on DPS, our Junkin 9 going to be on support. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Where in the world are our Saints? Let's take a look and see what they're up to. Possibly leading the charge here alongside Bailable as they charge on in to the point. Both teams actually going the long way around on each other, both looking for separate vantage points to possibly start themselves off with an engagement. And in turn, nobody really is going to get engaged on at all. Granted, in this position, though, Davenport University will have the high ground, and they're going to make use of it. Yokai going to find our junk nice and quickly here in this one. Granted, the Saints in position because they're going to hang on to this low ground as best as possible, start capturing. This is going to lead up for Davenport, though. They have the player advantage. They're going to push it. Kenny Bennett going to find himself a double kill. And we're seeing more and more Saints dropping here. Cypress, nice charge onto Kale. Arjong's going to make his way back here, but the numbers advantage is definitely in hand of Davenport. They will capture this first and start bringing up some points in their favor. He's going to definitely have to regroup after that one. Alt charge is not necessarily in their favor either. The Deadeye and the Flux are available very, very shortly for them, but at the same time, we already see Mushy there, ready with that Amplification Matrix, whether it be for damage or healing, can absolutely just crank it for either way around. That is also the Shatter coming out here from Cypress, who is about to go down, so he just fired it out there. As we see lots of low health bars here for the Saints. 9 trying to do his best to keep everybody topped off, considering our junk is down. And it looks like another lost team fight here for St. Clair, setting them back. 9 going to get taken down. Lots of Saints getting taken down at this point. The 3 of the remaining Saints trying to go up against the 6. This is definitely not a good position there for our St. Clair squad. We're going to have to try and run for the hills, as we do now see the positioning here for the side of Davenport. Just finally backing off a little bit, but still in a confident enough position. And we see Cypress right here in the corridor. Has that Shatter right around the corner. Apostle's definitely going to have to be looking for that one. We're going to see the Dragon Strike come through alongside the Shatter, but neither one is going to actually make contact. We're going to have Apostle going head-to-head here with the tank line, and this is finally the team fight that Saints are kind of looking for here. However, back-and-forth battle here. Definitely not guaranteed either direction, not as of yet. Nine's got good position in the back line here, but where in the world are the rest of the Saints? It looks like they do end up cleaning this one up. A solid job there for the Saints to turn that one back around with still a couple pieces of utility, some ultimates still left on a person for at least a little bit. See Kale here has the Blizzard available here on that May. Definitely something I'm going to be taking a look at as we hop into the next team fight. 15% here for St. Clair. We do see the Amplification Matrix coming out here from Mushy. Doing a bunch of damage going through there, but the Saints opting to retreat away from it. Good positioning there for them. Tank line going head-to-head with each other. We're going to see the... Oh, it's a huge Graviton actually coming out here from Kenny Bennett, but nobody was able to capitalize on it from the side of Davenport University. Definitely a feels bad man kind of moment here for them as Apostle just charges on through with G-Scales, and the rest of the Saints are going to clean up right behind them. Saints with a solid hold, and they still have Kale's Blizzard. Schnitzel, the only one with an ultimate on the side of Davenport, but Cypress is going to be right around the corner as well, as he's looking to try and lead the charge here for the Davenport squad. But you have to go through a bunch of shields. This is definitely not a comfortable position to try and squeak in through. We see them opting to actually go the long way around. Apostle on hot pursuit here, and the Shatter is going to basically get the support line and the main tank, so it's huge. But that was actually a gigantic flux here from G-Scales, but unfortunately with 3 members down from the side of the St. Clair squad, they're not going to be able to capitalize this at all. They're going to be forced to blow utility if they want to try and get something. And as of right now, sure, they got the Schnitzel, but they also got Bailable. So now this should very well turn into the favor of Davenport. But actually, Apostle and G-Scales are back here for maybe a second time around, but this one is going to end up going down. Unfortunately, therefore, the St. Clair squad can be forced right back to a very similar position, and they got to be careful not to get themselves staggered out, because otherwise they're not going to have a full 6-on-6 push going into possibly the last couple seconds here of this game. Lots relying here on the ultimate from multiple players here. Where is Kale? Is he going to be able to pop this out? He does, right alongside a Deadeye from Bailable. Lines it up and takes them down. Beautifully done there from the DPS duo of St. Clair. They're going to be able to clean this one up nicely just in the nick of time. 99% on the board here from Davenport. So Davenport need to touch up on this point nice and quick. If they do manage to do that and win one more team fight, they will be the victors here of round 1 of game 1. But still have some Time left to go, 5 seconds. There's going to be the aggressive shatter. Basically, we're going to see St. Clair do very similarly to what we saw Miami University of Ohio do to them. However, somebody snuck through. But this does also mean that everybody on the side of Davenport is going to be scattered like no tomorrow. And beautiful adaptation coming out here for St. Clair, taking a playbook out of Miami University of Ohio. Very similar style and make it work for their own right. So St. Clair going to turn that one around, get themselves round 1 here on Oasis for game number 1. Love to see it. Once again, good to see everybody here in the chat. Thank you for joining us here for this Cheez Esports Invitational. Next part of game number 1 just about to be underway here. We're going to see a bit of a switch up here, more of a divey style coming out here for the St. Clair squad. Also on the Winston, we have G-Scales on the Diva. And DPS line doing a complete switch as well. Sombra here for Bailable. Kale's on the Reaper, looking for flanks. Arjunk's going to be sticking to that Lucio, but you also got 9 now on the Moira, which is of course perfect for burst AoE healing. Can kind of run out of gas, if you will, if you're not too careful. Brawl on the point. The Saints love this kind of style. However, it's not going to go in the favor of Kale, at least not as of this moment, as we see Arjunk and Apostle find themselves 3 amongst themselves, and they're going to slowly but surely clean things up. And the Saints are going to be able to take this one rather handedly and start gathering some percent for themselves. Available setting up shot. Kale looking for possible flanking opportunity in a moment or so. Watching out for that fire strike, of course. Now, this is exactly where the Moira would definitely love to be, especially if you want to use some purple orbs or something down the road. When they gather up like that, just that purple orb being able to do a ton of damage. But you gotta watch out for snipers, and that is exactly what Yokai was ready and there to do. 4 members of St. Clair getting down before they could even really have a proper fight on the point itself. Nice little maneuver there for the side of Davenport. They're going to successfully take this one over as soon as they deal with Bailable, who has to teleport his way out of there. So solid job here for Yokai and the rest of the Davenport University squad. Doing a fantastic job to take the retake. Saints limited at 35% on the scoreboard. Slowly but surely, Saints ready to march on into this point. It's going to take to the low ground. Never mind. It looks like Apostle going to hop right in there, pop his shield, and hang on for dear life. But the shatter is going to get G-Scales taken down, at least taken down the mech. We do have the Coalescence coming down from the low ground, but it's a pretty awkward angle here for 9 to try and reach up. So the tank line is going to drop. It is going to be reliant now on the DPS to try to make the play. It's been a little bit wishy-washy, but they've been able to find a kill on everybody who went to the low ground. Can they get that Schnitzel, though? That's going to be a good charge here for G-Scales. Just not going to waste any time, not let the DPS get comfy. 1 shot away, but you got to toss those, those shotguns. They're all out of ammo, and the Saints are going to clean this one up. Bailable getting the finishing blow. So team fight after team fight, flip-flopping, trading points, and everybody getting on the board here, it seems. But solid job nonetheless. Saints able to get this one back. They're going to have a couple ultimates on deck. Of course, the EMP is going to be here for Bailable. This time by, get rid of any utility, get rid of any sort of shields that may occur. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on this Sombra, especially if they gather up closely. This thing, of course, AoE, like ability shutdown, if you will. Apostles Primal Rage was maybe a little bit off-timed, but it's still A-OK. Gonna move on forward. Death Blossom, where in the world? Right in the corridor. Kale goes nuts. Gets himself the pentakill, if you will, or at least the quadra kill, rather. But he's gonna clean this one up nicely. Where in the world is the opponents? They're all dead. Saints gonna take this in 2-0 fashion for game number 1, I should clarify. It would not be Overwatch if it was not a Reaper stealing play of the game, and that Death Blossom at the last possible moment we're going to see here from Kale was absolutely nuts. Lined up here alongside Bailable, who unfortunately kind of sacked himself a little bit for the team, but they all focused him, and sure enough, Kale gives himself the opportunity that way to take down the rest of the squad with the distraction from the rest of the Saints squad. So that's what you'd like to see. They turned that one around, a rather convincing second part of that first match. The first round was actually stupid close, however. Davenport in like 99-99 game could have gone either way just off of that last team fight, but Saints were able to clean that one up. And unfortunately this one just not even in the same ballpark. Like, sure, the team fights were kind of back and forth, but they were like convincing in the regards that the resource management for St. Clair was just better. Sure, the team fights, like Saints 1-1, Davenport 1-1, Saints 1-1, but it was all about the amount of ultimates that they used to get those team fight wins, to make that very final one just that much more clutch, to the point where even if Apostle popped Primal Rage early, it was a-okay. He was distracting people. Like, oh, Available dived on in, but it used up some stuns on the side of Davenport. This just let Kale to hit Q in that tight corridor and just destroy everybody. Spin to win, as I call it sometimes, and just absolutely crushed it. So good to see here for the St. Clair College squad to get ready to go to game number 2. And where else would we go for game number 2 here in these in this Cheez It Groups tournament? Then Havana, which we've seen basically every series so far. Going to be hopping into it once again momentarily here, and I think it's going to be Saints on the defensive side of things first. Double check. Looks like it as of this moment anyway. Without further ado, we'll hop on into the game right here, right now. But of course, if you're enjoying all the action that we're having here on the Saints stream, make sure you follow, because there is still plenty more where that came from. Not only are we going all night here with the Saints run for this Overwatch Cheez-Its tournament, there is still plenty more action, especially later this week, where we have the Battle of Windsor, University of Windsor versus St. Clair College. It's Friday coming up at 8 o'clock right here on twitch.tv/SaintsGamingCA. Do not want to miss that one. Battle for Windsor matches are always chaotic in the best ways, so definitely recommend coming and check it out. And it is going to be Saints on the defensive side of things to start off this next round, and we're going to have ourselves a very similar setup, it looks like. I see Apostle sitting in the little sneaky spot in just a second. It's not going to let me take a look. You're just going to have to believe me here, but we're going to see the Davenport University squad and may try to make their way out. They did take the far way around, so they're not going to get themselves jumped on necessarily like instantly, but the rest of the Saints are going to be right there. Apostle nearly got messed up, but it allowed Bailable to absolutely go nuts on the Schnitzel and Cypress. It's going to send them right back into the spawn point. Beautifully done here from the Saints, and beautifully done here from Bailable to get 2 nice quick picks to shut them right back down, send them to the spawn. Yokai still sticking to this Hanzo. Really wants to try and make something happen, but with him being a sniper, you can kind of see these close-range engagements. You can only really do so much in this area, and that is going to be Apostle with the Shatter to absolutely shut this push down. Lets the entire team go absolutely nuts. Bailable's on the board, Apostle on the board. Arjunk gets himself a kill onto Yokai, and just absolute shutdown here from Saints so far here on Havana. They're going to try and take the other way around, pop the amplification matrix here from Mushy. So far, not bad. The Schnitzel does finally get the revenge kill onto Available. We see the charge here from Cypress. Cypress ain't going to get the better end of that one, however. We do see the amplification matrix come out here from 9 as well. We have some like battle tech going over here as we see Diva on Diva action, but it does not matter. It is going to be Davenport University. They found themselves those opening picks, and that is going to be enough for them to start to get a bit of a run here, to get themselves onto this card, clean up the Saints defense, and start moving this one forward. You see Cypress over in the background, already set, ready with the shield. Maybe do a little bit of scouting and see where the Saints are coming around as well. The only one really visible right now, I believe, was G Scales. And there's the rest of the Saints making their way on forward. Going to be a Deadeye coming out here from Bailable. Can he find anybody not behind a shield? Can't do anything right now. He does get the shot on the Schnitzel, though, so instantly going to get another revenge kill of sorts here, and he's going to find himself another one. Cypress does go down, and there's no shield for these members to just hide behind, and the rest of the Saints are just going to mow them on over. Nice little quick double coming out here from Bailable to take care of the support line as well. A solid one-team fight, solid job here from the St. Clair Saints. That's every DPS player's dream, if you will, when you're got a nice narrow corridor like this and the opponents kind of line themselves up like that. Boom, double headshot. You love to see it. And Bailable's not going to waste any time. We do see the Diva Bomb coming on out. Does it get anybody? It's not going to, at least not this time. However, it's going to be our Junk, actually, to really get things moving here and find the finishing blow onto a couple members. It's going to be a possible Bailable G-Skills. Everybody's going to find themselves some piece of this kill feed. And that is another team fight just absolutely melted away here. St. Clair doing a solid job just keeping this right on the intersection. The side of Davenport University maybe have one, maybe two fights more if they're lucky. Bailable behind enemy lines. He has the flashbang in hand. Can he get a sneak attack up on the support line? He's got to watch out. He's going to get the jump. He's actually going to opt to go for the tank line just to try and chunk him down. That is going to be the vulnerability fields, but it doesn't matter. He pops the Deadeye anyway, but it's going to be the supports coming in absolutely disgustingly clutch here for St. Clair. To the point, like, that was pretty sick there. Bailable had the positioning there to really put the pressure onto Cypress, and then all of a sudden, Cypress is kind of distracted with multiple points of attack, and it was our Junk and 9, actually, who went absolutely insane, finding themselves finishing blows in this regard. Again, just because you're a support player does not mean you can't find yourself on the kill feed. It does not mean you don't make an impact. Apostle comes on down, but unfortunately that shatter may have been a little bit off center, but it does not matter. The rest of the squad's right there behind him. Kale's going to find himself a couple eliminations. Bailable, of course, has been going nuts this entire series. He's not stopping here, and that is going to be yet another clean team fight win. Saints are going to shut this down before the intersection. Only pushed 51 meters. Very similar situation to the game versus Shawnee State, where the Saints did a very good defense. If anything, though, the one for Shawnee was like over here, I believe, like right in this corner. Meanwhile, Saints don't have to even get to that point. They just have to get it right on essentially where the stop sign would be of the intersection, and you have made it to victory. What kind of defense does Davenport University pull off here? Of course, they may be a little bit cold, of course, from the weight. They got dropped down here relatively early, and like not only are they going to end up losing the match if they can't pull this one off, but this is the entire tournament here, their entire tournament life relies on this defense if they want to try and keep this going. And it's a tall task, to say the least, and the Saints are going absolutely guns blazing here with this combination that I see here right now. Bailable on the Symmetra means we're going to teleport right into the swing of things. Apostle on the fastest tank in the game has that Wrecking Ball ready to fly on in. G-Scales is ready and waiting to pop shields to everybody, and then you're going to have to deal with Kale on the Junkrat, just constantly lobbing grenades, as well as our Junk and the pressure from 9 as well. Where is this teleporter going to go? Are they going to use it early or wait? They're going to use it early to try and get behind enemy lines, and they have KO alongside them to instantly drop in a landmine. Just does a ton of AoE damage across the entire team. Good thing Mushy on the side of Davenport had that invulnerability field available. Otherwise, that could have been enough burst damage to maybe take out a support player. And the Saints, they at least, like, they get this a little bit messy, but not necessarily enough to actually get any eliminations for themselves. The support line on the side of Davenport has been doing fantastic. Bowl them over. Here comes Apostle, dive on in. Our Junk and Kale are going to find themselves some eliminations, and this is finally the opening Saints need. This may be one team fight, but this may be the entire tournament here if you're on the side of Davenport. Everybody just needs to get on the cart and push this thing over. They are actually going to give them the credit for the furthest point they pushed it, so just a little bit around the corner is where they have to get this going for. And I love this here from Bailable as well as G-Skills. Some far ahead aggressive action. Kale going to absolutely blow somebody up, and he has the Rip Tire. Can instantly one-shot a team if they're not careful, but where is Mushy? Mushy is going to be the counter to this. Of course, has that amplification matrix. If he goes down, however, his entire team is a sitting duck, but they also have to actually get moving to get this cart defended. It is not a good position to be in for Davenport. Here comes the Rip Tire. We're going to ride along with it, see if he can find something behind enemy lines. Takes down Dr. Stupid, and it is going to get taken out. The support player from the side of Davenport taken down. There goes Apostle taking care of Yokai. This one is all but done. Davenport University's day is done early. St. Clair Saints moving on to round 4. Play of the game is going to be going over to Apostle. It's a bunch of them all blocked off there because of the wall, and that shatter was absolutely nuts. May not have been a 6-player shatter. It's nobody's birthday today, but it was extremely close and extremely solid and definitely worth play of the game. Solid job here from Apostle and the rest of the St. Clair Saints, absolutely turning this one around and putting on the hurt onto Davenport University. A little bit of revenge, I suppose, from last season, so it's good to see Saints coming on through. That's funny. I say happy birthday, and sure enough, there's Prince Wada in the chat. That's kind of funny. Are you Beetlejuice? Do I summon you by saying happy birthday? That's kind of funny. But with that, of course, now we are going to be on yet another breather in between games before we hop into round number 4. We, in theory, could be going for a lot longer here tonight. There is matches on the bracket. Of course, exclamation mark bracket if you want to follow along with us. And the times are assumptions, like they're not hard set. Of course, if you've been with us for a while here tonight, we've had ourselves a little bit of a delay of sorts here and there. But games are scheduled to go all the way till midnight tonight. So if the Saints keep on winning throughout the losers bracket and getting further and further in this tournament, we can have more and more games going here today. And I am going to definitely need a snack before we hop into the next one, because these guys are on fire. So without further ado, of course, St. Clair going to take this in 2-0 fashion. GG's to Davenport University. And we'll look forward to seeing our next matchup, which, if I remember correctly, is with our Canadian brethren, which I believe is the U Ottawa GGs. So another team that has absolutely crushed us in other esports titles, but I cannot remember playing up against them in Overwatch. So I'll be looking forward to that one up next. I assume it's going to be about a 20-minute to 30-minute break, but I will be sure to update you in the chat as well as here on the stream when the next game is about to go live. So again, thank you to everybody for tuning in, supporting our Overwatch squad, supporting us here on the St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports team. Hang tight, some more Overwatch action in just a couple of minutes.